Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is Antigonus Gaming. We are back with more Metroid Prime Remaster on Switch. Metroid Prime, of course, you know, Nintendo product. We're in the Magmore Caverns. You can hear that by the sound of the music. We are in the Magmore workstation. You can actually see up into the sky a bit in this part of the cave, so it looks like it's more of like a valley, but there's like really dense, thick like fog, so you can't really you know, there's nothing really to see exactly, but you can see up. So this is more of a valley. There's two other doors. If we go south, we find a passageway that's blocked by a collapse with benzium stuff, and it's like a, you know, a modern, you know, futuristic looking like hallway with like windows. So it looks like, you know, maybe a hallway the space pirates built. But it's collapsed, so we can't go through there yet. And then if we go back the other way, we're gonna slowly head back towards the remainder of the caves that we've already been to. So we're in like the part of the cave that we haven't saw. The doors around here are almost all wave beam doors. So now we're in the geothermal core, which is this huge, tall room, and it's got these devices in it that are like harnessing the energy. And it says there's a white door at the top, but we can't get there yet, so we're just gonna hop on through. We've got a puddle spore, a sentient floating lava mollusk protected by impenetrable shell. A puddle spore opens with when approached, attempting to intimidate with its size. When open, direct fire to its mantle causes it to flip into a defensive position. If it can slam shut, it ejects a spread of harmful energy globules. You can't kill these things. They're basically creatures that live inside rock shells. But if you attack them, they flip over and turn into platforms. So they've got, like, you know, slimy stuff on the inside, and then there's just like rocks. The shells that they have are made of like molten rock. That's, you know, hardened. Not still lava. Good, we got some more missiles. There's a Magmore, but there's actually a rock thing that we can shoot that'll drop down, kills the Magmore, and it creates a platform for us to jump across a lava lake, small lava lake. Now we are in the Twin Fires. How do I get across? Oh, there's more of these, there's basically big rocks hanging from the ceiling that have weak points where they're attached to the ceiling. When I shoot them with missiles, they drop down, and then we've got some other platforms here. We've got the Magmore dragons attacking us. We've got the puffers. Now we can hop across this one. So it's just a lava lake. So we gotta hop on the platforms to get across. There's some fire, like flamethrowers shooting fire out of the walls at us as we get to another smaller lava lake. This one we can just drop another one of these rocks, and it destroys the dragon, and then we can just come on through. Now we're into the Twin Fires tunnel. This is a place we couldn't go through before, because the only way to get across it is to go out through a spider ball track, and the spider ball tracks are just magnetic orange and black rail tracks. It goes over the magma, And then we can just actually just drop off. We don't need to go back down because she doesn't take any damage when she falls down from it. Unless she's falling into something or it's an absurdly high distance. So... I'm gonna go up Talon Overworld West. I'm trying to remember what's... No, I think I want to go to the ruins, actually. My next step is I gotta go back to the ruins. So we're gonna go all the way back. Wait, actually, it's wrong. I think actually the fastest way to get to the ruins, rather than going all the way back through there, might actually be to go back through that other elevator. Actually, no. We're gonna continue our route the way we were going because we can get another artifact by going back through. We went all the way back to the. Pirates and jetpacks, we're just gonna ignore them. We've got the health to get away with it. With the double jump boots, we can actually jump over this fence here, so we don't have to use the morph ball to go underneath into the little areas with the triclopses anymore. It's kind of the nice thing about the way this game operates is like the puzzles they make you solve once. In general, you don't need to do them over and over again. Because they give you upgrades later on that will let you skip them. So there's a huge pillar in the center of this lava lake here, and we're gonna blast it with a super missile. The pillar breaks, and there's a Chozo artifact. This one's on the outside ring. This one was the artifact of nature, the 8th of the 12th. So this one was not in the hints that they gave us, but I've beaten this game so many times that I just... So continuing to go through. As for Nintendo news going on today, there's a lot of talk online about a leak around the new Pokemon games. Apparently they're considering like an island potential setup for the next region. I haven't played a Pokemon game in several generations. It's only so much money, so many different games to play. And I don't really... I've always... You know, I know that it's maybe more just like online now, but I've always felt like it's fun to play Pokemon when you have someone in IRL to play with. You know, that's really not the case. I stopped playing Pokemon around the time I finished college. Just like felt like the same, you know, I mean, I understand the people who love Pokemon, and I don't dislike it. I just think it kind of felt like the same thing to me, and I felt like I was getting new experiences from other franchises, the new entries in other franchises more so than Pokemon. And also, Pokemon's never been a super story-heavy game, but it feels like they've kind of gone away from like the main character. Well, I think in Sword and Shield the bad guys were like an evil corporation or something like that, but it feels like recently they've kind of gotten away from the bad guys actually being bad guys, and I don't know, it's just kind of, that's something that turns me off as a player. But I understand people who... Regional climate analysis complete. Abnormally low temperature at ruin site. So it zooms out and it takes us to a little tiny room called the antechamber, and it says there's a climate anomaly there. So we're actually not going to go back and get the artifact that's where we fought Flager yet, just because there's an upgrade that'll make that artifact a lot easier to get. We're going back through the vault, which is where we got a missile expansion. We're gonna be able to, now that we've got some upgrades, we're actually gonna be able to do more with some of these, with some stuff. So like, first we gotta blow up these war wasp nests. And then, so there's a knotted stump in the middle of this huge tree in the courtyard we're in, and if I shoot a super missile at it, it blows up. And then I can use double jump to hop across. There's a missile expansion inside. From here we can actually see another missile expansion, but to get there we need the grapple beam, which we don't have. So we can't get it yet. We're gonna go back to the ruined fountain, because there's a missile expansion in there. And that's just through this hallway here. So we can actually go in the water now because it's no longer poison. So there's a fountain that shoots water up in the air, and if Samus gets in it when it's not shooting, it'll bring her up and push her up towards a morph ball, a spider ball track. She can follow it along the wall here. It takes us into a little tunnel, and then down into like a caged off area that we can see, and we get a missile expansion. We'll actually just drop down right in front of the door. The Arboretum too, like we don't need to worry about getting hit by the vines because, there's no poison in the water anymore. So, we don't need to, like, dodge as much stuff. There's still enemies to worry about, but we don't also have to worry about losing a bunch of additional HP just by falling into poison water afterwards. We're back where we got the charge beam, because there was a room we went to after we got that had a missile expansion in it, and we couldn't get the second one in there because it required the spider ball, which we now have. Yeah. So, I'm intrigued to see what they do with the Pokemon regions. All the various Pokemon regions and places are based off of, real places in the world. So, like, ZA takes place in Lumino City, which is from X and Y. Great games, by the way. I did play those. Lumino City, you know, the gym in the middle looks like the Eiffel Tower. It's clearly based off of Paris. All right, so we took the spider ball up to the top, and we got another missile expansion. So now we're up to 90 missiles. And then, so, you know, basing it off the Greek islands, I think is an interesting idea. So we'll see if that rumor leak comes true, though I think it was from a batch of leaks that has generally been proven out to be true. But, you know, we'll see. You know, it feels like we're still in a holding pattern, but, you know, I've seen a couple other rumors about other things potentially too, though it's more like Reddit it's more like speculation based on, like, you know, people on Reddit made a post, and then somebody who was involved, you know, a big name from the past, you know, that had an account or something on their comment, and I'm like, I'm not gonna put any stock into that until I see something, you know. Alright, so we're about to go to another hallway that'll take us back towards the furnace, which we couldn't do anything in before but get a energy tank. But before we do, there's another missile expansion on top of, like, the door, but I needed the double jump to jump onto the ledge where I could get to it. So I did that. So now we're gonna head back. This is back towards where we faced that flamethrower thing and got the morph ball bomb in the first place. Way back when we were a couple videos ago. We, like, drained out the energy core and everything. So now we're walking back towards the furnace. We can see there's, like, hot stuff. But this time we're going to take the spider ball track up. And we actually have to use morph ball bombs quickly because the floor falls apart, and then we have to start over. So, it's not a terribly difficult challenge, but, you know, just a minor one. Alright, now we're in the main furnace. We were, like, inside, like, a side room in it before. There's a white door. We can't go through that yet. There's some Chozo lore, so we're going to scan that. Above the morph ball tunnel. Chozo script translated. What is the otherworldly pestilence that infests the land, seeking out life and its blind need for corruption? And where did the meteor that brought it originate? Was it crafted by alien hands, or was it a roving chunk of a planet that suffered a violent end? Our minds quail in horror at the thought that long ago, in some corner of the universe as yet unseen by our eyes, an entire planet was perhaps once coated with this great poison. Whatever cataclysm may have ruptured that doomed place must have been mighty indeed. If other meteors from it spread through space, bearing this evil to far corners of the universe, we hold fast to the hope that this is not so, that only surviving remnants of this evil are here on Talon IV, that at least there is hope for its eradication. So, there is another challenge we can do in this room, but we can't access it quite yet. So we're gonna move along. So we're now in the Crossway Access Vault, and you can hear that the theme changed, just like when we're in the depths of the Talon Overworld or whatever. This is the Chozo Ruins Depths theme. So, like, this is the part of the ruins that, like, the space pirates haven't even seen, probably, because they couldn't get to it. So we see a huge... we're in a long rectangular room with a large half pipe. There's 3 Chozo ores, and they're kind of like in a weird shape, like a squarish kind of bizarre maze-looking kind of shape. Chozo script translated: to the entrusted one, if you read these words, then our hope has not been in vain. Your path is fraught with danger. Monstrosities beyond description lurk in the shadows, starving, hunting for prey, searching for ways to quench the poisonous urges that bloom in their brains. Some of these are shrewd, but they are blinded by their evil designs, believing that in the black promise of the great poison. They seek to harness it for their own ends. It's the least of these that are the greatest danger. When you rid the universe of these creatures, you will be the true and trusted one. New Chozo lore. None know if our temple, the cradle, will prove powerful enough to contain this evil forever. For now it wraps around that abomination, cutting it off from the world above. However, we believe the power of the cipher, which has been produced by linking the 12 artifacts, should be strong enough. The fate of this world is now left to the one who will collect all the artifacts in the future, the time when the entrusted one knows is approaching. So, like, this is them saying, you know, they know that their time is over, their civilization is dead. This is literally their, like, last will and testament. Many Chozo are gifted with distant sight, and even more begin to learn it as our harmonization with the universe becomes more and more complete. We peer forward, seeing prophecy in the ripples of the water, hearing rumors of coming days in the breath of the wind. Though we celebrate the distant sight, many of these visions are dark. The worst of these prophecies and the most common tells of the coming worm. Born from parasites nurtured in a poison womb, the worm grows, devouring from within, until the world begins to rot. Not all prophecies come to pass, of course, but we cannot help but fear this. That sounds like a very ancient-sounding process. So this is a cordite statue, which means we can blow it up with a super missile. It's like a thing on the wall, and there's like a goofy purple-looking thing we can scan. There's something behind the wall seems to have been activated. A spider ball track shows up, and a morph ball thing appears like way up high, but we've got a half pipe and a boost ball, so we can just start doing that. And get all the way up there. I really love this whole... I am not a shooter fan, but the reason I love this game is because there's such an ancient history kind of component to it, that, like, she's exploring an ancient civilization that, you know, at one time was incredible. And, you know, the space pirates are like the perfect example of the people that, like, don't appreciate ancient history. They're just like, whatever, we'll just steal all their technology and we'll use this poison that destroyed them to create super weapons, and we'll just blow their ruins up because they're in the way. So that dropped like a piston for her to get on, which takes us up into like a little, like, walled off area, and there's another missile expansion. And, you know, Samus is the one who is, like, going in and actually finding all these weapons and defeating these monsters and the space pirates. And, you know, she understands that when you understand, you know, the wisdom of the ancients, they're not right about everything, and some of their values are important to us today because they were from a different time. You can try to not repeat past mistakes and not freak out so much. I think that part of the online ecosystem is they want us to think that, like, everything is certain and that you don't, you know, they want us to, like, know everything. Okay, so now we're in the Hall of the Elders, interestingly enough. Have a unique, and we see a huge statue of a Chozo, and there's like this weird blue and white energy ball, and it turns into what looks like a Chozo, but it's a ghost. So it's like a see-through. New creature has entered your logbook. Aberration, Chozo Ghosts, spectral entity, bioelectric fields invulnerable to natural energy. These energies phase in and out of existence. The only way to track them is with an X-ray scanning technology. This partially phased nature makes them invulnerable to natural energy types such as fire, ice, and electricity. Their aggressive and erratic behavior is most likely due to the corrupting effects of Phazon and Talon IV. They appear to be drawn to Chozo religious sites where they wreak havoc on anything that dares to enter the area. So they're basically mindless guardians of what the that was weird. They're basically mindless guardians of various Chozo sites. You can only attack. You can only hurt them with the power beam and super missile, which is a power beam based attack. And if they hit you, it disrupts Samus for a moment. Her like visor gets all like electrical, and then the lights also turn off when they show up. So now the Chozo Elder in the throne, his hands are like have a glowing thing, so we can. If we can get Samus into the hands of the Chozo Elder with the Morph Ball, he, like, the statue bends down, and it, like, rolls her like a bowling ball along a track, and then the track sends her up to a, spider ball thing, and then there's like a port, and then that opens up 3 other ports. One is purple, one is white, and one is red. Representing the different color beam weapons. But first we're gonna roll into this. I think this is a missile recharge station. This is a new thing we can scan. Missile station. Step into the station to fully reload your missile launcher. It's not super helpful for us right now because we're only down 11 missiles, but we'll take the free replenish. But it is helpful later because one of the things about this game is that once you encounter certain milestones in dungeons, the enemies will get harder. And so we just use the wave beam to turn on the purple one, and then so she uses the Morph Ball bomb in it. And the floor, there's like a thing in the floor that rolls, and then now where the Morph Ball would be thrown, instead of going to like a little ramp that throws her up towards the floor, it says a new path is opened. Now, it will go into like a tube and then shoot her up in the air. Or actually it'll roll her through a new path, and now she's like on the upper level of the Elder Hall in a little area that we couldn't get to before. The 3 spots turn on again, and then I can roll on through the thing, and now I'm in front of a door, and there's a force field that I can now turn off from this side, and now I can climb up here without having to do that again. I walk through a tunnel. I'm now in the reflecting pool. This is a 2-story room. There's no way to get up to the other thing, but hey, the reflecting pool's in a half-pipe shape. And there's like an old drain on the bottom, which I can blow up with a Morph Ball bomb, and now all of a sudden the water's trying to go. There's a bunch of stone toads, so they're gonna try and we can take care of them easily enough. And now I just need to... So we gotta go around. So there's a white door in the back, a blue door, and then the 2 doors on each side on the upper level have missile things. The upper level passageway is broken, so we have to use double jump. We walk into this little antechamber, and hey, there's a new beam weapon. Ice beam acquired. I can use, now on the beam menu, I can use the ice beam, oh, I forgot to mention, so the beam menu on the bottom right corner of her visor, like, you can see stuff. Like, each beam is represented by, like, a hand with a different set of fingers up. And then the visors on the bottom left are represented by, like, different visor-looking things. So the ice beam is, like, giving off ice energy, and it's got, like, white frost in the gun, and then there's, like, a little like there's like a cartridge almost kind of like clicked into the top of it. whereas the wave beam and the power beam are both more like compact cylindrical things. There's more like stuff coming out of the top of the ice, like, so there's actually, so save in progress. So, and this save station is actually unique in that you can enter in. Most save stations are small little rooms. This one has a tunnel I can go through. This will take me to elevator to Talon Overworld East. And there's not really a lot to do in Talon Overworld East. But there's a missile expansion I can get through in like a tunnel over here that you can't access from anywhere else. Got Geemers. This is the transport tunnel C. Then there's the overgrown cavern, so it's like a cave we like go use the morph ball, and there's like the poison grass from the Chozo ruins. We're gonna hit that with the ice. And then there's a missile expansion. I don't know if there's anything on the... this is gonna take me out to a little ledge. I can't remember if there's anything on the ledge. There is not. Oh hey, but I'm overlooking the crashed space pirate frigate. And all of a sudden, there's space pirates coming after me, and I'm just gonna run away from them. There's nothing to be dangerous if I jump and take damage. If I jump down from there, I'm not gonna be able to go back the way I came, because there's no way back up. And I have to go back because there's actually another way out of here in the back of the reflecting pool too, and that'll take me to a different part of the Talon Overworld, which will have more stuff to collect. So we'll be able to explore the ruin, the crashed space pirate frigate soon enough. So we scan another one of these elevator rooms, Talon Overworld South. Head through another tunnel here. This time, we don't have poisonous grass to walk through, and we end up in the Great Tree Hall, which is another one of these like huge, like several story tall. And there's the flowers that'll shoot at us, as well as the guys with the blue spines. But we can freeze them now. Here's the other thing. So it rains in this room, and this is where the limitations of this technology, of the technology of the time, play into the way they handle this. So in this room, we're near where you get the X-ray visor, but we don't actually have the upgrade to get it yet. And the first thing they reward you with by giving you the X-ray visor is there's like a secret platform you can get. But it's raining here, and they didn't have the ability to have the rain either go around the platform or go through it, so you can see the rain in a certain spot just stop in a puddle, but there's nothing underneath it. So it's really clear that there's an invisible platform there, but it's a small detail that you really have to look for to notice. But once you see it once, it's not that hard to get it, and then you can jump across to like an area that's blocked off, and there's another missile expansion. So like, that's the kind of thing where like if you don't have a keen eye for detail, you're gonna miss that. And there are other areas. Oh, we can't actually do much more here. They're like that. Like there's a missile expansion in the Magmor Caverns, but since it's not raining, you can't see it. But that's just a limitation of the technology. There's a lot of other games too. It might even still be a thing in modern games where they just don't know how to do that. It's too hard to program or whatever. So if you're in an area where like they're trying to make it rain but also have invisible platforms, it can tip off that there's an invisible platform. So actually we can't, actually I think we might actually go back to where we were before. And just go back, because we can go back to Samus's ship by the space pirate frigate crash site. That area actually connects to back to the where her ship was at. And I think I may have missed a couple missile expansions actually, so it's okay to go back through there. The next thing we're going to be going for is the next version of her power suit. Cool. Let us do more underwater. I know I missed a missile expansion in the pirate lab. I passed it, and I remember mentioning it on the last video, and then walking past it. So, just like with the flowers, the problem with the ice beam is it's slow. It's by far the slowest weapon that she has, beam weapon that she has. The next weapon that she's gonna get, the last weapon she's gonna get is extremely fast and extremely powerful. Yeah, and they can actually shoot their missiles into the... We're okay, we can just run away. We're heading back towards her ship. Yep, there's a little tunnel we can go through that right by her ship that has a missile expansion, and I missed that one. It's one of the earliest ones you can get. I forgot about it. So we're gonna save in her ship. Cave or whatever it is. That'll take us back to Magmor. Close to where we can go to Antigonus. Gotta drop all the way to the bottom of the root cave, which dodge all the enemies. You know, and it's cool that they put stuff in rooms that you've already visited before, because they're trying to force you to revisit all these old areas multiple times. Which, I mean, in an exploration game in a fairly contained world like this, I think that's a good thing. Because it makes it feel like you're not just like going in a straight line from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. I don't like having to go back repeatedly in some types of games, but I think this one is fine. With the Magmors now, if we shoot their heads with the ice beam, it freezes them, and then they die from a single missile. Yeah, so that's nice. Space pirates, jetpack pirates now instead of turrets. We're back in that monitor station. There's actually now a decent number of more missile expansions we can grab in the first part of the Fidrana region we visited, so that's a good thing. And some backtracking. But having the extra missiles is really helpful later in the game. Much helpful to get this stuff over the course of the game than it is to try to get it all right before the final boss, too. Because some of the later areas do require a lot of missiles. First thing we're gonna do, looks like we got she-goths outside the ice tower. We're gonna go to the outside the Chozo Ice Temple. There's a thing we can blow up with a super missile, which then allows us to scan an item on the wall, which opens up a little secret passageway into the wall that takes us to a spider ball track. And that takes us to the top of one of these little decorative towers. Another missile expansion, so now we're up to 120 missiles. One more missile expansion in the Ice Ruins East, I think, that we can get right now. But we've got one of the big giant Gas, which is a wing. Little baby ones are gone. The big she-goth decides to stop its thing. It actually makes the whole ground shake. Got a spider ball track that we walked past before, so now we've got that. So now we're up to 100. So we got half the missiles. We have half the missiles now. There's 250 missiles in the game. We have half. Back to that ruined courtyard. more adult she-goths coming after us, though, which is annoying. Because of that, the ice flicker bats are gone. This was the only area where they were at, so... yeah. Space, more jetpack pirates. Freeze them, and we shatter them. Fortunately, because of the slowness of the ice beam, the next beam weapon, the last beam weapon you get is completely overpowered. This one is really strong, but the speed of fire still makes it a fairly challenging weapon to use against, you know, basically enemies that have any speed of movement. Whereas, we're gonna go back and get that missile expansion. So, when I use the ice beam and the thermal visor, which I'm using, the ice beam is like completely blue. Because it's so cold. And you can see like everything else is blue too, and then like the Metroids floating in the tanks are red, because they, you know, they have a heat signature. And we don't want to use missiles because the missiles will break the glass and free the Metroids. It's actually more effective to use the ice beam, charge beam them, and then do that again. Usual gravity pattern. It's gonna zoom out, and it's gonna take us over to the gravity chamber, which is in the Phendrana region. It's past the cave where we fought the boss, Thardus. It's really the only thing we need in here is there's a tank that we can blow up that has a missile that was made of something we can blow up with the super missile that has a missile expansion in it. So now we can get out of here. There's an artifact that we can get in this dungeon, but we don't have the tools yet for it. So we're almost pretty much done with the space pirate research facility here. Pirates, they've respawned. They're not strong enough to get me, and there's a save station nearby where I can restore my health and it won't matter. So, right. So I think that'll be all for this one. It's going to be a shorter video. And I didn't talk as much. Felt like maybe I've talked a little bit too much. And there's really not as much to say right now. I've talked a lot about the Switch stuff. And, yeah, so that's really all I've got, to say. For now, I'm really excited for when more stuff comes out, but I think there's a few more of these developer partner interviews, but I haven't really done that much with third-party stuff. Maybe I'll go back and watch them, talk about them. The creator interviews that they're doing with some of the third-party studios, so I'll have to see who those are. And then there's a couple more of these Switch 2 experiences in May, and then that's it. So there's really not a lot of Switch 2 news. There was the Pokemon leak, and you know, there was a really flimsy story about, you know, a Donkey Kong Diddy Kong Racing remake, because the guy who was on the Rare team that designed a lot of those Donkey Kong characters, or redesigned them from their 80s version to their 90s in 2000, you know, the 1994 versions that had basically been what Donkey Kong has been up until the redesign Nintendo did this year. You know, have like commented on some posts and stuff, but really nothing substantial. It was like them like commenting with emojis and stuff, and so people are, you know, hoping maybe that means that Nintendo's working with them again for the first time in a really long time. But I don't. I think we're at a phase where, unless you're a super hardcore Mario Kart fan, it's really not Nintendo. There was a lot to talk about for like 2 or 3 weeks, but now there's not a lot to talk about if your main stuff is covering first-party Nintendo products, because there's only so much you can say about Mario Kart until it comes out, and Mario Kart is a game that's designed to be augmented over time by DLC to keep it alive for a really long time. And so Nintendo likely has multiple waves of DLC already planned and in the works, but they're not going to announce any of that because that DLC is a year away or more, because they use that to help people, you know, make the game relevant again and try to sell copies like every Christmas or something like that for people who are newly adopting the system. So like that was the whole point of the deluxe version with Switch, and then they added in like Link and Isabella from Animal Crossing, and the Splatoon character, because it was like, oh, let's just try to bring in some other stuff that are like of a comparable silliness to Mario. You know, they could try bringing in like F-Zero characters or something, but they'd have to change them significantly to make it work. And I think, you know, it wouldn't really fit the Mario theme. Cool. Yeah, so that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back with more Metroid Prime as we go to get Samus the next upgrade to her suit, and that will enable us to explore several more areas, get some more upgrades, and really kind of move into the final phase of the game. Yeah. So thank you so much, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll be back with more Metroid Prime and this Nintendo discussion and all the works as well. So thank you so much, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and we hope we will see you again on the next one.